Hi, masterminds, real masterminds. Welcome in the house. We are back. We are back as promised. Remember what Mgomezulu used to say in court. They are cooking. And now we are going to show you how they exactly cooked and the pots got burnt on the stove. Remember, I told you we are going to show you the fraudulent OB entries, and we're also going to go to the AVL to show you how the cooking proceeded there. So please, masterminds, when you come into the house, like, subscribe, and share. If you still want to get more of these videos on a weekly basis, please come in, like, subscribe, and share with everyone. Because here you are getting it from the horse's mouth. Njabula, welcome back again. Can you please take the floor and give the real masterminds what they want?
Yes. Suspect your fans are going to kill you now. Um, because they've been telling you that the name is Njabulo, not
Okay,
like
let me try. Njabulo. Ne? As in
yes, that's correct.
I'm not
Yes.
going to get it wrong again. Njabulo. I'm not going to get it wrong again.
No, thank you, Suspect and the mastermind. I see now that you're gonna be ending up being like um, a sis Dolly of pursuit for justice.
Yeah. If it's anything that has to do with justice, I'm there. I'm there.
Yes.
Mm.
All right. Yes. No. Thank you again for using the time that is available that we actually talk about the Senzomiwa case, and also run through the evidence that has already been mentioned in court. Suspect we're going through these things because we're playing a court record.
Mm.
We're doing through all the things that we are doing because we love South Africa and we want justice for the mayor.
Mm.
I have seen comments that people are like asking us whether how does this thing now assist the defense? For us, it's not about assisting the defense.
Defense. Mm.
It's about we see something wrong and we just choose not to look
We choose
away.
not to look the other way. Yes.
Yes. So that's that. So now, based on the previous section, we were talking about the connection with the taxi violence and the information that was taken there into the case. And then we're going to see on other things where we're going in detail about Colonel Bayard, who actually was there in a taxi violence because he testified in the Senzomiwa case. But then also, for your viewers, suspect to understand, Senzomiwa case took place in 2014. We've since heard in court that there were WhatsApp call. But then now the court has since moved away and they said it was a BBM call, it was a data call and everything.
Mm.
Now, suspect on a previous show we did not play this thing, but I want to play you something. It's the clip that is from Kelly's good friend, and here that how and we're gonna hear that she's gonna be telling us how she got scammed.
Another intriguing element has emerged in the Senzo Meyiwe murder investigation. It seems a phone taken into police custody as part of the investigation may have been used for alleged extortion. Kelly Khumalo's biographer and close friend Melinda Ferguson almost fell prey to the scheme. She joins us on the line now. Good morning, Melinda. Thanks very much for your time. Just to put this in context, we know that as part of the investigation, the police confiscated this phone after the shooting on Sunday night. But I understand you received a message on Monday morning. Just give us a sense of what was in that message.
It was actually Monday afternoon. No, it was actually Tuesday afternoon that I was, you know what? I'm actually getting completely confused because I saw Kelly on Tuesday. No, it was Tuesday afternoon where I received a WhatsApp with Kelly Khumalo on the message, on the top of the messenger thing, and it said, "I've been arrested for speeding." It said speedily, so it was badly spelt, and I've been arrested, and I need you to bribe the cop. So my entire being went, how could this happen to her at this terrible time? Oh, my word, this is the worst thing, the media. And then she kept saying the media mustn't find out, the media. But of course it wasn't Kelly. Then a detective's number was sent to me. Call him, please, and bribe him. So I called this guy. He answered detective whoever. I said, listen, please, can I come and get Kelly? He said, no, she's locked up and there needs to be bail paid. I said, how much? I'll do whatever's needed. I said, can't we just make some arrangement? What's happening? He says, then he put the phone down. Then I got a message from her saying, just bribe him with 2,000. So I opened my iPad, started getting the e-wallet number that he had sent to me, or she had sent to me. Luckily, my colleagues were around me, and they were kind of going, no, maybe you shouldn't send it. And I was basically not able to get on Wi-Fi from the office. And I would have pushed send, and I would have probably been like 2,000 Rand under. And then we phoned Kelly, and she was at home.
So is it clear at all who actually was behind this?
We have no idea. They were online, whoever these people are, when I was sitting with Kelly later that night. They had the audacity to still be online. And I wrote, are you having fun? And that was the last I saw of them. And then I think Kelly's, as far as I understand, she's now got her phone back. But I know Arthur Mofokete has also been scammed, but he actually paid. And I think there are a few others. I'm not sure who they are. But basically, in that little period of time between Sunday and Tuesday, people or some person had got hold of the phone and was trying to scam as Kelly Khumalo, and making it almost so real, like they knew what was going on, they knew she was hiding from the media, they knew the people they were targeting were people with big hearts, maybe who could pay, and they were really going through, I think, her list of WhatsApp contacts.
Melinda, you have been in contact with Kelly since this tragedy.
Suspect, yes, I'm just going to stop it there. What I want us to bring in context there is that there is a case. During the case now, we've had the evidence that's stating that the phone of the stolen phone or the runaway phone, it since disappeared in the Moleleki Tower the previous day. I'd never joined the network anyway. Now, she said she's received the message with Kelly's WhatsApp, with Kelly's icon, and there's a number that was actually requested that you must send a number e-wallet to. Now, I'm trying to think that can these 5 accused whom barely have finished matric, that can have hotspot Kelly's phone and use Kelly's phone for WhatsApp messages to be sent, and how these people could have been able to unlock Kelly's phone and use Kelly's WhatsApp. Now, that is when, for me, when I started actually going through these things, I'm like saying, this is when the cooking is actually going wrong. Now, whether she's not clear whether it's a WhatsApp call that she received, she called back via WhatsApp or anything, but it looks like there was a call that she made. Now, remember, in court, there was something in dispute. You are muted. There's something that was in dispute in court, whether is it a WhatsApp call or it's a data call?
Yes.
Now, when we look at that, that's when now I have a view that this indeed looks like a cooking gone wrong.
Yes.
Because now she also mentioned that another person that was already scammed is Arthur Mofokete. And we know that Ada is a good friend of Kelly.
Mm.
And also, Ada's number appears to be one of the top numbers that Kelly phoned just after the incident, basically. Now, why this is important? It's because now we need to unpack this cooking. So there was this element of this thing, but we never hear anything in court about what really happened with this. Now, before we can go to the OB entries, I want to share my screen again. I'm going to show you at Wikipedia, basically. Well, I know people, they don't want to trust. We must always use Wikipedia with caution, with extreme caution, basically. So, but can you see my screen?
I can see it, yes.
Yes. So now when you see my screen here, you see it's what we call as development. When you're developing a product, it will have a timeline and a history in terms of what was happening with WhatsApp, how WhatsApp was created in 2009,
How
and
it
the
developed.
CEO. Yes. But then now let's look at this calling of WhatsApp. Now, when we look here in around 2014, November. Yes. This says WhatsApp introduced a read message. There is because for every product that is designed, there's a systematic documentation that happens with the company, basically. Now, it tells you that this is the features that they've gone through and introduced. Now, we know that Census incident may have happened in October 2014.
Yes.
Yes. And we also know that one of the accused person was also arrested, I think around 2014, basically November, if I'm not mistaken. Now, look at what happens in 2015 January. WhatsApp launches a web app, so that you can link WhatsApp to your phone, to your laptop, desktop. Look at March. What then gets introduced?
Voice calls.
Yes. Now, let's see if the link is legit because they make us a reference. Let me click on the link of voice call. Where does Wikipedia get this source? Now, this voice call, now they're telling us about the explanation of the voice call. Now, what I have done is I went on another media statement, basically, which is it's the commentators on WhatsApp, basically. They also are confirming that when WhatsApp will be launched, but this press conference, either way, it takes around March 31st, 2015. They even tell us how these WhatsApp callings is actually going to look like.
Okay.
So at least suspect, we can confirm now that
there was no WhatsApp calls in 2014.
yes, there was no WhatsApp calls in 2014. And any allegation that alludes to any WhatsApp call, it's misleading the court. Now, the forensic person that actually downloaded the phone suspect, this is what he says. He says when this WhatsApp call information is actually received from Kelly's phone. I will take you through the IMEI numbers that were read and what, because and what the state witness have mentioned. We've been told that Kelly had 6 phone numbers.
Yes.
But then now, for me, I can't believe that. He may have had 6 numbers in the entire history, because when you go on the ITC, on the credit bureau, they will keep record of all the numbers
that you use.
that you've actually used, basically, on that. So now I think that was a shoddy police work from Steyn to actually go through and profile via Experian report or CSD, and then look through and say, oh yeah, these are the numbers that Kelly have. So Kelly had other 6 numbers. And Brigadier Gininda also testified to that and say they then realized that Kelly was not being truthful about the list of numbers that he had. Now, simple thing is we had a lady from Vodacom, which then now is strange. Also, Kelly had MTN numbers, but we don't have information from MTN, but we only have numbers from Vodacom. But anyway, let's leave that for another day. Now, this expert, they should be, by looking at the network, they should be able to say, here's the number. This number was being used by this phone. There's the IMEI number. They should, at least in 2014, at least show us all these 6 numbers that they were active. But that is one thing. On the next episode, Suspect, we're going to deal with it. I'm telling you that the SIM swap is also, it's part of the cooking. Because now we're joining the dot in remembering Mngomezulu. On when he's saying that everything is cooked. And unfortunately, the only person that I believe in this case is, I think, Dr. Steenkamp, the one that did the postmortem. Is it postmortem?
Yes,
the medical
the
report.
postmortem.
Yes. Yes. That's the doctor that for now that I'm believing.
Most
on all this.
reputable. Most reputable.
Yes. But all the other people, I do not trust them. Even Charlie and everything, I do not trust them. Now, let's go to. Now, I'm going to try and play the clip on my TikTok profile because, Suspect, this is not something new. Your followers must understand this thing that I've started being involved in this case when the case started. I became passionate on it because I also, as the family, we didn't receive justice on the killing of my brother, basically. So that for me, it remains the biggest challenge that, you know what, I need to do something. So I'm going to try and share a screen with you with this TikTok. But then these clips that I'm going to be playing, I am going to pause them in between. Not sure that
QQ.
Suspect, I'm pausing so that I can give your listeners context. This is a record where you'll see that I've clipped, I think, three clips. The one clip is Sergeant Mohane, the one that arrested Ntanzi, is testifying. Then you'll also hear the voice of Brigadier Gininda. But what they're testifying about, this is the exhibit QQ. So it's the sign of the OB entries, basically. When I believe that they are fake, because they say that Ntanzi left Phokeng police station, and then after he left police station in Phokeng, he did not go to Pretoria Moord. He went straight to Primrose. Now, the reason why they're saying that he didn't go to Pretoria Moord, because Ntanzi had already testified and said, when they left Phokeng, they took him to Pretoria. They said to him, that's when he makes allegation that he was offered 3 million rand. But then now the interesting part is that the OB entries are talking about how Ntanzi moved and the AVL the time. You'll see the time of the booking when Ntanzi left Phokeng and arrived in Primrose. But you'll see the AVL record will make mention of Ben Viljoen Street, but you'll hear that. Let me play it.
Okay, in which Saturday 2020 stroke 06 stroke 20. Serial number 871. Now for 480 04 Not JPD 30. Prisoner received. Warrant officer Mokoena received 1 unit as per Bongani Tansi SAP 14 156 of 6/2020 on cocaine case 1186 118 of 6/2020.
The next entry was for Sunday,
2020 06 21.
on the 21st of June 2021.
Serial number.
No, sorry, on the 21st of June 2020.
2020, no, sorry, 2020.
If we can then get back to your evidence, you have just referred to the OB entries from Primrose on the...
Now, do you see now? That's now Brigadier Gininda, he's testifying. He will be testifying on being led the evidence, and then there will be a re-examination.
20th. Is there anything of importance that happened on the 21st?
Yes, my lord. So perhaps on the 20th, yes, I can confirm. Maybe let me start on the 20th, my lord, that he was indeed received, as I alluded in my evidence before, as per this OB now from Primrose. The time is 04:30. That's when he was received from Primrose. At Primrose SAPS from Phuket, my lord. So that is the first entry at 04:30.
Lana ke ngeithi ngazo i20 lezo ke isikhathi ke 04:30 ila amukelwa khona ke police station yase Primrose ebuya ePhuket.
Then my lord, on the 21st of June 2020 at 22:50 he was then charged, in other words formally charged in preparation of his first appearance in Phuket court. So he was charged by Sergeant Mohane, and the time was 22:50 with OB reference number 2029.
Well, still on the subject that the offer was recorded.
Now, suspect, sorry, I think I'm picking up flow. Now, suspect, now, I think there was a question under cross-examination, or Danzi's version was put to Brigadier Gininda that an offer of 3 million rand was made in Pretoria Ward. Let's listen.
To the question that was put by Mr. Mngomezulu made on the 21st of June 2020, I just want to show you Exhibit QQ. It's already in record, but where was the accused detained? Firstly, on Saturday, the 20th.
He was detained at Primrose SAPS, my lord, by Sergeant Mohane.
Umangalelwa yena wayekade egcinwe phi nge20 uthi bekagcinwe ePrimrose uSergeant Mohane.
And what is the relevant entry?
So it's the relevant entry, my lord, it's 713, and the time of detention is 0040. In other words, my lord, 20 to 1 in the morning.
Now, do you hear that? The time of detention now has changed. It says 20 to 1 in Primrose. I'm not sure, suspect, did you hear that?
The cooking, I'm flabbergasted.
Now, yes, that's what they're saying, that's when he arrived in Primrose.
Ake kuye kwabhalwa khona mizuzu emashumi amabini ngaphambi kwehora lokuqala Ntathabusa kula kwabhalwa ke ukuthi umsolwa yena uyafakwa ke esiphoyiseni sase Primrose.
Then, my lord, on the 21st, it's 21 June 2020, the entry there is 2029. It says suspect charged by Sergeant Mohane. That is now in relation.
Now, do you hear that, suspect? On the earlier on, the first time Gininda makes reference in Mohane, they're saying that Ntanzi is only charged at Primrose at 4:30. Let me take it back.
June 2020. I just want to show you Exhibit QQ. It's already in record, but where was the accused detained? Firstly, on Saturday, the 20th.
He was detained at Primrose SAPS, my lord. By
Umangalelwa-
Sergeant Mohane, sorry.
umangalelwa yena wayekade egcinwe phi ngeyi-20 uthi bekagcinwe ePrimrose uSergeant Mohane.
And what is the relevant entry?
So it's the relevant entry, my lord, it's 713, and the time of detention is 0040. In other words, my lord, 20 to 1 in the morning.
La ke kuye kwabhalwa khona mizuzu emashumi amabini ngaphambi kwehora lokuqala ntathabusa kula kwabhalwa ke ukuthi umsolwa yena uyafakwa ke esiphoyiseni.
Now, Primrose, let me take it back for your listeners.
Rose on the 20th. Is there anything of importance that happened on the
Now, listen to the OB entry. Still the same person reading now the OBs while evidence is being led.
on the 21st?
Yes, my lord. So perhaps on the 20th, yes, I can confirm. Maybe let me start on the 20th, my lord, that he was indeed received, as I alluded in my evidence before, as per this OB now from Primrose. The time is 04:30. That's when he was received from Primrose. At Primrose SAPS from Phokeng, my lord. So that is the first entry at 04:30.
Lana ke ngeyi ngaze uyi-20 lezo.
Now,
what do you call that in terms of the law? Because now this person is giving evidence and is lying to court.
yes. Let me show you now how the lie is actually being confirmed by Sergeant Mohane now. Remember, Sergeant Mohane first testified without the OB entries, without the AVL. Now, so that means that initially they never thought that the AVL will be called, will be required.
Yes.
So now they may have cooked the
They
OB
went back.
entry.
They went back
Yes.
and they added spices now.
Yes, because they already know that Danzi says the offer of 3 million rand was made in Pretoria Ward after when they came back from Phokeng. Now, let me show you this pet. That's why, for me, based on the record, for me, I am saying that I don't care what happened with Danzi and all that. Well, I do care, but I'm more worried about the state witnesses that are not able to present a credible case. Let me show you now. I'm going to play Mohane testifying on the AVL record. You hear the times and you hear what time the vehicle left Phokeng. Remember, they always saying Primrose, remember there was 040 and there was also 4:30.
Yes.
There's no mention of it was a bad denial on the matter of that Ntanzi, the car never went to Pretoria Mall.
Yes.
Now, let's play that again.
Okay.
Let me try and get it through to. I've actually tried to pin this thing now.
Salga police station ya Phokeng, it is start up.
And at the
Now, Mohane, when he says startup, he will call the date of the engine startup as well as the time and the date. Now, you will note the caption here is just for you to bring you context that
Yes.
at some point, Mohane is going to say the vehicle stopped in Pretoria Mall in Belvedere Street at 3:08 in the morning. So, which means that then it started the engine at 3:08, which then makes sense that it will have arrived in Primrose in Germiston an hour later at 4:30.
Yes.
Now, but now you see this part. That's when Danz, in his own evidence, says he was offered 3 million rand in
Pretoria
the
Mall.
yes. Now let's just see now.
At the time, we were still at the Phokeng police station, and it reflects that it started up
ilanga kwakusenayo i-20 2020 or 000239 sisekhona-ke eMpiyoni Police Station ke dumisa imoto
gomme go tlogela ka 00 ka di 2026 0740 seconds e re GPS unlocked go fihla ka 2026 0308 4 seconds ignition off,
and from 0007 and 40 seconds on the 20th of June 2020, it shows that GPS was unlocked until 0308, where the ignition went off. 08.
Yeah, you see, that's why for me, even the interpreter, I'm like, really, it's like it's sensing that there's something wrong here. Because the ignition is off. You'll hear when they say the address. And that.
Iyachaza-ke laphayana kusukela ngalesi sikhathi esichazwe udlulile kuzofika lamana ku-0308 yilapho-na-ke imoto icishwa khona.
If the GPS is unlocked, you know what that means?
GPS unlocked,
I can say
I do not know.
Ukuthi mabhalwe lokhu-ke ukuthi-ke i-GPS-ke ukuthi-ke sivumele noma-ke unlock angazi ukuthi kuthini.
More or less, what time did you depart from Phokeng Police Station?
Motlhomong le sepetse ka nako mang go tloga police station ya Phokeng?
ke lebeletse e re tloga mo re tswile ka di 2026 e re thoma go driver nearly 2026 23 29 55 seconds.
When I look, it was at 3:29 3 a.m. 29 minutes and 55 seconds.
29:55. Uma ngibhekela-ke isikhathi esasuka ngaso ePhokeng isikhathi-ke kwaku 3:29 intathabusa-ke ama-seconds awu-55 uma siphuma khona-ke ePhokeng.
Now, Sispet, you will hear. I mean, when you look at the AVL record, it states there, Ben Viljoen Street. Now, you're saying 3:30 in Phokeng. You're telling me that even if the guy is driving at 160 kilometers per hour, there's no way that he can leave Phokeng at 3:30. You see, now that is when now they are trying to fix
Yes.
this.
That is when they add the spices, but the cooking went completely wrong. The cooking went
Yes.
wrong. And that is what Mngomezulu has been saying. They were cooking and the cooking went wrong. And Jabs, we are left with less than 4 minutes. Proceed.
Yes. Now, for me, is that the AVL, it coming through, it actually did not tie up with the OBs that were created. Remember, in the previous episode, we said, even Baloyi himself, he says, poor police investigation work and poor documentation. Even on the Donovan Creature case, the reason why confessions were not accepted in a trial within the trial, because there was OB entries were not there.
Yes.
I just paused. I just closed my video because I think I'm picking up flow. I had
Yeah,
to
it
sneeze that.
seems like it. You must not get sick now. We still have a lot to do before the resumption on the trial on Monday. There's still a lot of information to divulge. And all we want to do, we just want to show South Africans what is happening in Rata's court, how the investigation officers and police officers are lying to court, how they are cooking up evidence because they want to find these 5 accused guilty. And at the end of the day, what are we as South Africans going to do about it? As Njabula said, someone in the comments asked him, what is the defense going to do about this? We don't know. We really don't know if the defense is going to challenge this evidence. Remember, they must still also call their witnesses as soon as the state has closed their case. Hopefully, the defense will do due diligence to their clients. They will challenge this evidence because the evidence is there for them to challenge. We cannot go into court and challenge the evidence. All we can do is keep on doing our research and bring the information first then for everyone in South Africa and globally, because we have people here from all countries in the world who are watching this. And at the end of the day, we want to see how Rata is going to what Rata is actually going to do. Because if you can look at the Jocelyn Smith trial, you look at the conduct of Judge Nathan Erasmus and the way he respects the decorum of his court, the way he respects the witnesses, the accused, and everyone in that court, is completely the opposite of what we are seeing in Rata's court, where you don't even respect the defense lawyers. Never mind junior witnesses, never mind the defense witnesses, and most of all, how he disrespected Warrant Officer Makubu to a point where he said he is a junior, to a point where he is the one who must polish the shoes of Brigadier Gininda. That is so disrespectful towards a police officer with so many years of service. Rata expect us to respect him because he tells us every day how of his 50 years in the profession, but he doesn't respect other people's professions. So people, we will bring you more of this. Please, as I said, like, subscribe, and share this video so that everyone can be aware of what is happening in our course. And Jabs, thank you very much once again for bringing us the information, for going all out and doing your research so that people can see for themselves and not just hear. Because in Rata's court, you don't see anything, you just hear voices. In Judge Erasmus' court, that's what we are seeing.